We all want to raise children that are motivated, that are have a sense of self-esteem and of value, that are seeking to grow and learn and become powerful human beings. And the church wants to bless them, not only with its spiritual teaching, but also just in general, enable them to be successful students, to be successful professionals, successful husbands and wives, and so on and so forth. So this morning, we have taken the time to reflect on how to raise children who are healthy intellectually and emotionally. Boston Basics is a program that is right now creating a lot of interest in Boston, but also I think even beyond the city of Boston. It is a program initiated and originated by a distinguished member of the Boston community, Dr. Ron Ferguson. I want you to give him a hand of welcome this morning, and I'm going to say something a little bit more about him. But Dr. Ferguson has been a member of the faculty at Harvard University for, I think, 30 years, and graduated from MIT with a doctorate in economics, but he roams widely, and so he's been kind of moved to initiate a program that ministers to African Americans, to Latinos, and to the larger community as well, on how to teach parents, young parents in particular, with small children, how to become, as I was saying, functional, thriving, successful human beings in every sense of the word. And so the Boston Basics, the name, and he will give us a lot more detail about it. I'm going to stop very soon because I don't want to steal his thunder. It has 5 distinctive principles that it seeks to instill in our parents. And so we will be dedicating the next minutes to that. I want to invite Dr. Ferguson to come forward and to share with us, and what a wonderful job he's doing. Our communities need to hear more of these kinds of teachings. So let us, you have the microphone, great. Let us just relax and reflect upon how to create these wonderful, successful human beings. Dr. Ferguson, welcome, and it's great to have you with us. And I'll be translating for you the next service, but please enjoy and lead us.
Okay. It's a blessing to be here this morning, and I look forward to sharing with you the work that I've been dedicated to for the past several years, and it's really starting to take off now. About 5 or 6 years ago, I noticed in the national data that children from some backgrounds are pretty far behind their peers by the time that they're the age of 2. When you look at the data for 1, you see some differences, but in the basic cognitive skills, we call them the academic skills, the pre-reading, the even responsiveness to what people say to them, there are big differences by the age of 2. We also know from the research many of the types of experiences that children have that affect these kinds of differences by the age of 2. And we have learned that by the age of 3, more than 80% of brain growth has happened. By the age of 3. As I learned more, I learned that children can hear even before they're born. 3 months before they're born, they can hear. So they're in there listening for 3 months before they even come out. And when they come out, they favor speech in their mother's native language. And they favor their mother's voice. There's a study of French and German babies that shows that they cry, when they're newborns, they cry in the rhythm of their mother's native language. For one, there's a slight uptick at the end of the whimper, and for the other, there's a slight downtick at the end of the whimper. They even enjoy the flavors of the foods that their mothers ate while their mothers were pregnant. Mm-hmm. So, knowing that there's something we can do about this, knowing that these gaps are in place by the age of 2, gives us some responsibility to reach out and try to do something about it. Okay, you can't know that and not do anything about it. Most of my work is focused on different ways of making people's lives better. I used to teach state and local economic development about how to bring jobs to areas, but then I learned about 20 years ago that the most important thing for people's incomes are the skills that they bring to employers. Employers pay people for what they know how to do. And those skills are based very much on what they learned in school and what they learned at home. And so I, as an economist, started more and more doing education work. And initially I was worried about when students start school and how they do from school all the way through college. But then we learn that the gaps are there already by the age of 2. So we need to do something about this. Now, recently, about 2 years ago, we got one of the major foundations to support us to work in one neighborhood. And right after that, there's a group called the Black Philanthropy Fund, who were some senior African Americans who decided that they wanted to give back to the community. And they decided that they wanted to help us, but not just for that one neighborhood that we had support to cover. They wanted to help do it citywide. So they were going to put in their own money and their own time to help this happen. So they started organizing, and we've now developed a group that we call the Founders, which are the Achievement Gap Initiative at Harvard University that I head, the Black Philanthropy Fund, the Mayor's Office in Boston, WGBH Public Broadcasting, and the Pediatrics Department at Boston Medical Center are the 5 founding organizations. And the Children's Museum is doing so much now that they should also be thought of as a founding organization. But these organizations together are trying to change Boston. We want it to be impossible that if you live in Boston, you don't know the Boston basics. Okay? And we're not only trying to reach families, we're trying to reach anybody who influences families. So we want people to know these things, but also to get reinforcement for doing them. So grandma is asking, are you doing those things with your baby? And the elementary school child is coming home having learned how to read to a 2-year-old. And the father is sitting in the barber shop, and the barber is asking him if he's doing the Boston basics with his infants and toddlers. Okay? And so we want everybody. We're working through health centers and hospitals and libraries and museums and churches and barbershops and housing developments and community centers. Every place where people have repeated contact with other people, we want them to encounter the Boston basics and to give that support. At the church here, there are going to be some training sessions for parents to get more deeply into the Boston basics. Initially, they're going to be in Spanish. We'll also be trying to connect the English speakers with opportunities in English, maybe here and other places, to become more steeped in the Boston basics. But already, we have a website that has our videos for the Boston basics there, bostonbasics.org, just bostonbasics.org. You can watch the videos. The Spanish videos, Spanish language videos have just been completed. Only one right now is on the website, but the rest will be on the website soon. We're also going to be doing videos in other languages where we will dub over. Right now, the Spanish videos are in Spanish families, Spanish-speaking families. They've been shot separately from the English-speaking videos. But then we started also doing, for example, Haitian Creole, and those will be narrated voiceovers. We'll take the English-speaking videos, and the narrator will describe what's happening in the video. Okay, so the Boston Basics are 5 simple clusters of parenting practices. The first one is maximize, love, manage stress. Maximize, love, manage stress. Stress can undermine brain development. And a lot of what we're talking about here is brain development. Like I said, 80% of brain development, those first 3 years. So maximize, love, manage stress. When babies experience stress, they are afraid of the world, they are afraid to venture out, they're afraid of people. When they experience a lot of love, they feel safe and are able to learn to think more clearly, actually. People talk about what's called executive function skills, which is about planning what you want to do and then actually following through and doing it, having self-control in that way. The second of the Boston Basics is talk, sing, and point. As I said, babies can hear 3 months before they're born. So they're learning language as soon as they're born or before they're born. They come out. So we want to talk real talk. And it does not matter what language it is. So the mother should speak whatever language the mother, or not just the mother, the whole family, everybody who talks to the baby, should speak whatever language they're most comfortable speaking. And the baby is picking up the sounds and the cadences, the rhythms of language from the very beginning. We want to talk in the high sing-songy voice that babies like, but we also want to talk real talk. The third of the Boston Basics is count, group, and compare. Count, group, and compare. It's a special moment for a child when they realize that numbers correspond to groups of things, that 5 is 5 of something. It's not just a word you say after you say 4. Okay. The fourth is explore through movement and play. Explore through movement and play. So we want parents to understand that they should watch the things that their babies stare at. Your baby stares at something, move it closer to them so that they can touch it. Okay, a toddler expresses an interest in something, reinforce that interest. The fifth of the Boston Basics is read and discuss stories. Read and discuss stories. We talk a lot about reading to little children. We don't talk as much about discussing what you're reading with them. Okay, the discussion helps them to start to understand. It helps them to develop those thinking skills. Okay, so those are the 5 Boston Basics. We want people to make those routine parts of their everyday lives. It doesn't take more time. It just takes more interaction. Babies' brains develop and are helped every time you interact with them. Some people leave their babies just sitting without much stimulation. Other people are constantly talking to their babies and their toddlers. Okay, we want to have, somebody just said, just narrate life, describe what you're doing, interact with the babies. And you're building this thick network of brain connections that they can use to think for the rest of their lives. You're building a foundation for their lives when we do this. Okay, and part of your ministry can be to reach out to other people to build this. Okay, we learn in church that God's work happens through our work, that each of us has to reach out and affect the world, the world in the ways that we think God would want us to do that fulfills His dreams for the world, His desires. And so it's totally appropriate that we're here on a Sunday morning at church talking about this issue, because very much it can be and should be partly the work of the church to get this stuff out. Okay, so I want to play a 3-minute video that is the overview video for the project.
Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me?
Learning begins the moment your child is born.
Baby, baby, baby.
Do you want to play too?
Every child is filled with vast potential for success in life. And those first 3 years can have the greatest impact on your child's learning.
Apple, look, where's the strawberries at? Yes, it's lemon too, and kiwi.
Wow, awesome job.
It's all about giving a child a proper start. That's what being a parent is all about.
Yay! We didn't like that song.
I wanted to make sure that I was here every day. Such a joy.
Every parent of every background can make a positive difference in their child's life.
It's peeling. Boom.
A few simple, everyday activities can make a big difference.
Those are flowers.
That's why Boston Basics is working with research and community leaders to promote an important new initiative. The Boston Basics are 5 simple principles that we want everyone to know. The first of the Boston Basics is to maximize love and manage stress. The second is to talk, sing, and point.
Let's take a bath, a lovely bubbly bath.
The third is to count, group, and compare.
1, 2, 3.
The fourth is to encourage and enable movement in space and play. And the fifth is to read, but not just to read. We want to read and discuss stories.
Whoa, what is that? A duck. What does the duck sound like?
These are the 5 fun and simple things that every parent can do beginning from birth.
Oh, yes.
Let's all work together to make sure our children can become the best, most well-prepared they can possibly be.
Maximize love.
And manage stress.
Talk, sing,
And point.
Count, group,
Y compare.
Explore through
movement, and play.
read,
And discuss stories. Please join us and help spread the word.
We bless you, and may the Lord bring all the resources necessary to make this something that is pervasive and that really impacts our community. I think those principles are wonderful, and those principles are contained in the Word of God. You know, one of the things that I get from both Dr. Ferguson's presentation and this video is the fact that God doesn't do all the work and kind of set us aside and then does everything himself. He works through us. And if we want to have our children reflect that kind of life and that kind of intelligence and vitality, we have to do our part. We're anointed by God as parents. We have authority from the Lord. But now we need to take our part and every day, many, hundreds of times a day, instill these values in our children. It's amazing how reactive children are to the stimulus that they receive from us. The human brain is absolutely, to say it's extraordinary is foolish even, because it is the most amazing organ and machine that exists in the universe. And it reacts to, both in our own brains and to the brains of our children, to the stimuli that we continually offer to it. So, you know, let's be really insistent and deliberate every day and do our part to have our children grow up to be these beautiful beings that He wants them to be.